Hello, good morning. How divine likeness and divine unlikeness affect us? It affects us according to our belief. In other words, the concept, how we conceive, how we accept within our psyche. This type of, I should say, aphorism, this type of wisdom, I find it a lot in Sufism. Anyway, how does it affect us? A human being fails to accept the fact that he is only being transformed, and transported from one template, psychic template, to another. He suffers through history. He is seeking an identity one after another. Wherever he finds prestige, he navigates psychically, not necessarily a physical transit or some physical migration, to seek refuge or a status in that identity. It is only causing him more oblivion. He feels all the time being oblivious. It's weird. Why? Because every identity is a template, is a container exposed to certain liquid. Then the liquid stagnates. Any type of liquid, if the container is known by its capacity, what comes after as an extrinsic, something from his native, innate, what comes after as like superfluous or extrinsic is only going to be shaped according to his psychic shape, I should say, maze, labyrinth. It's weird when you speak about this in monotheism, I mean Tawheed. It doesn't, Tawheed, the way it was introduced to human beings, especially modern human being, all the time, not modern these days. It's just, it's God and here, there is a big separation. Human being doesn't know. As I said, he is vulnerable to know. What you know about the divinity is that's your identity, that's true identity. Now, how? Getting back to likeness and likeness. In religion, I'm talking about a prophet, peace be upon him. He said you worship God as if you see him. And if you cannot see him, make sure that he sees you. What do we see about you worship God as if you see him? That is the truth, this kind of transit, this kind of push, transit, is here already existing. Where is existing? It is existing in human being, the way he is seeking. The only thing along his journey, he got confused. All what the divinity or the prophecy is asking him or telling him just to confirm the dimension. The dimension is in human psyche. In heaven, God spoke to heaven and earth. In one verse, he said to heaven and earth, when he rescued heaven and earth, rescuing, say, creation, in other words, bringing them from nothingness into existence. Say, eat here, you come voluntarily, willingly or unwillingly, but you are coming. In other words, the destination is only the creator. And God's worked the same thing in here on earth through the month of the prophethood. He said, every creature, a dabba, is the one that walk on the ground, crowds or walk or whatever. Dabbatin huwa akhidun binasiyatiha. God is seizing it from forehead. But to where? To him. He said, my Lord is on a straight path. That's dimension. So you are coming anyway. Getting back to the hadith, when you say you worship God as if you see him. You worship God. He's asking you to make an effort. At the time when you want to see, you are a transmitter. You want to see, you are in this process seeking likeness. At the time when you are in transit, you try to see, you try to describe, you try to give this likeness. You're not going to find it. All you were doing, traveling towards the horizon. The horizon does not have an existence. As closer as you get, as far it gets from you. There are moments at the time when you give up and you say, I can't, that's it. But he is asking you, and you say, why do I have to bother myself or disturb myself, since from the beginning, I know that I'm not going to be able to see God. He's asking you to make an effort to seek. Seeking the absolute, what does it mean? Seeking the absolute, you get to a certain point, you are going to show your incapability and you stop. You are going to show if you are willing, you are wise, you show your inadequacy. Likeness, and then that's it. At the first time you were a transmitter, seeing, look at the laser. Then when you gave up, you'll be submitting your psyche to a view, to a divine view. Here, what was going to be exposed, epitomized in the physical world, it will be rebound, it will be reversed, and then the first time was the outer, under the name the outer. The outer, O, capital letter, outer. That's one of God's names, Dhahir. Then it becomes an inner. Here an inner, but where all these kind of dimensions are taking place? They are taking place in a person's mind. They are taking place in a person's psyche. As I said, human being suffers an identity from the parents, an identity from the school, an identity position at work, culture, nationalism, as you can see today. When he has that kind of emptiness he is seeking, he is making a big transit for nothing. It is only causing him to feel more oblivious from the truth. The absolute did not asking you to find, it's asking you to seek the absolute. Wherever you stop, that's the identity you're giving your own effort for the one who is remaining all the time in this kind of transit, submissive transit. A transit with an inadequacy, a transit, this is where resides the true harmony. God said in one verse, he said, إِنَّا عَرَضْنَا الْأَمَانَةَ عَلَى السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ وَالْجِبَالِ فأبين أن يحملنها وحملها الإنسان إنه كان ظلوما جهولا. He said, we have offered al-amana, the trust. The word, it's not completely translated, entirely, the meaning. Al-amana, something, trustfulness, something you confide to someone. Look, it's for you. When you are in the middle of a conference, you're making a presentation, not necessarily in business or a seminar, people ask some questions. And then at the end, someone is going to come to you, a woman, man or a woman, ask you a question. You can understand this person is far beyond the others. 1, 2, 3 generations ahead of them. He asked you a question, he understood far, like I said, and you tell him or you tell her other things, just to him. So when God made this to human being, there's something in this human being why he gave it to him, or for him this trust, this amana. What is it? Because he carries God's soul. That's why. This is the one, he said, when I create him, when I fashion him in clay, and I breathe into him from my soul. Christians, they say, is God's image. Muslims, in Sufism more particularly, they say, خَلَقَ آدَمَ عَلَى صُورَتِهِ. He carries God's soul. That's the divine names. He can deal with the changes in the metamorphosis in life. Mountains, heaven cannot. But why God said, at the end, he said, I offered this kind of trust, amana, to heaven and earth and the mountains, but they refused to take it because they were sincere. They cannot handle it. They don't have enough power to deal with it. But why human being took it? At the time when you have the feeling of self-sufficiency, you carry God's soul, you carry God's image, but you act as God, even though you are a lowercase letter, is not God. That is the biggest problem in this existence. The human being, he feels that kind of self-sufficiency, I can do. If he renounces to this, anything you have accomplished, faculties, talents, or anything, you renounce it and you give it to the Creator at the same time. This is where truly resides the harmony. Nobody feels it. Nobody can explain it. You hear a lot of people, those who convert to Islam, they say, I heard few of them. The way they were talking, you can feel the way. A woman was highly educated person. She said, I wish I can explain to someone this feeling. This is the only thing I wish. I pray to God if I can convince people about this feeling, the way I feel when I am this kind of intimacy with the Creator. Getting back to this, kana zaluman jahula, human being. He is, but the human being accepted it. He was unfair and ignorant. Zalum, the word is taken from darkness. Obscurity. When you say obscurity, I am not responsible for the obscurity. It's outside. I enter a room, there was no light. But when we say obscurantism, I think like I'm involved. I am here responsible for this obscurantism. I don't like to know. Let me be the way I am, the way I understand. God did not exclude the prophets of God. When you say zalum is mubalagha. It's superlative, more than zalim. Zalim, he is doing something min al-dhulm, min al-dalam. And all these homonyms, we say homonyms, right? All of these are taken from the same al-dalam, is dark. But you know, al-dhalum is Allah cause obscurantism to not only to himself but to others. Human being, he took this amana, he accepted it, kana dhaluman, he didn't realize. He was dhalum. Jahul is mubalagha, the same thing, is not just ignorant, it's more than that. Ignorance, you can speak, you can say, narrow-minded. No, it's not that narrow-minded. It's worse than that. Ignorance, he doesn't want to get out of the ignorance. Are the prophets also involved? Are the prophets concerned about this? God did not exclude anybody, but they are the only ones. And we say prophets, those who are with the presence of mind, with vigilance, excluded just at the moment when they realize that they carry do not claim self-sufficiency. This is the only moment for us, once in a blue moon. Prophets know constantly. This is what they pray to God, not to claim this self-sufficiency and to act with God's image. No, to be submissive to God's image. You see, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, whenever I hear this word in the modern society, especially the Western world, they say self-esteem. He say, لا تكلني لنفسي طرفة عين. Don't let me lean, penchant, inclinaison to my nafas, to my ego, one blink of an eye. Do you get my point? He is constantly asking, he say, just taking la hawla wa la quwwata illa billah, not to claim that. This is the only time where a person is escaped to be under this kind of obscurantism. Every human being is like that. The obscurantism, what does it mean? This is why he feels. We champion words in our modern world. Depression, anxiety, panic attack, and this, and melancholy, and this. You don't find people who are sincere with their worship. I should say sometimes ups and downs as they happen, but they are just like a cloud and they pass. But it's not like a human being who is far. Why humanity is suffering? When he doesn't feel his identity, he is seeking another identity. But to tell a person there is no identity, transparency is the identity, he doesn't like it. If he's being, actually that's where resides the harmony. Back to our transit, what is the dimension? Likeness and likeness. When you are grasping something, a knowledge, something in this external world, the eyes are under the view of the eyes. They stagnate because the eyes are like that. The eyes and the mind is also characterized by time, space, and matter. When you shift it to your faith, this is the outer. When you shift it to your faith, in lam takun tara fa innahu yarak, it will become, look at this. The eyes are punctualizing, are characterizing, punctualizing, centralizing everything in the world with the mind. The mind, you cannot blame the mind. In Arabic, you say al-aql, big deal, al-aql, you say the mind. Al-aql is itself in literature is taken from al-uqal, is not. Uqda. So you shift it to the faith. Innahu yarak. You'll be submissive to that view. It starts dispersing, dissolving everything. Where? In your own subconscious, in your own metaphysical world. A little deep to go beyond this. Thank you very much for your time. and I see you soon.